Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Nadia. I talked a little bit in my intro video about what I do, my focus on diet and weight loss, and now I'd like to tell you a little bit about the actual diet that I follow. I've been in clinical practice, as I said, for the last 12 years, but I didn't always follow the same type of diet. I started off 12 years ago with I would say, high grain diets, closer to the current dietary guidelines. But I did focus on whole grain diet, let's say, in a little bit of a low fat diet. This is probably not a surprise to most of you because still to this day, most doctors and nutritionists still recommend a high fiber and low fat diet. As I wrote in my blog a few days ago, um, I think that most people actually don't really get into the LCHF diet, which is the actual diet that I do champion right now and have for quite a while, until it's actually become personal. So, what I mean by this is that most of the professionals that I know that actually lecture on LCHF, which I will talk a little bit about in a little while. LCHF stands for low carb, high fat. So most of these professionals that actually lecture on it and have become quite good at it, and to this day, many of them for over 30 years have recommended this diet to their patients. It all kind of started on a bit of a personal journey. So whether it was because they became overweight and were looking for a diet to lose weight, or whether it was because they had some kind of an illness caused by diet, like diabetes or even cancer, which may not have been caused by diet, but sometimes it is one of the factors. So I find that most of us that do follow the LCHF diet, and of course all over the world there are many, many doctors, it's kind of been a personal journey, whereas something has happened to them, they have tried the conventional methods, and many times methods that they have been prescribing to their patients for years and years and years, but then when they had to do it on themselves, they actually found that it was quite unsuccessful. And this is kind of what happened with me. So I started with that kind of a diet. I even went through a few phases of my life where I did try different diets. And I think the tendency as a naturopath was always to try to look for plant-based diets. And not that I have anything against plant-based diet. I mean, currently the diet that I follow is based on plant-based diet, although it has many other things as well. But I found that it didn't help me in my situation and with my family specifically. So this is how I became introduced to the LCHF diet. So what does LCHF stand for again? It's low carb, high fat. And I actually became more familiar with it through the paleo diets, although I don't consider myself a paleo or um, even so much base what I teach nowadays and what I recommend nowadays based on the paleo principles per se. What I do think is that the LCHF domain um, incorporates so many different diets. And really, what I normally say is, what's in a name, as Shakespeare would say, because it really doesn't matter whether you call it the Dukan diet, the paleo diet, the South Beach diets, even the Atkins diets or the new Atkins diets. It really, all that matters is that all the LCHF professionals that I know and that advocate the LCHF diet believe in a few basic principles. So mostly, as the name implies, LCHF stands for a restriction of carbohydrates, so at least a lot less than what is recommended nowadays in any of the international dietary guidelines. And it also stands for a higher fat content, healthy fats and real fats. So I think the number one principle of the LCHF diet is to eat real foods and avoid all processed foods. And if you really follow this, you would be consuming mostly animal products and plant products and avoiding anything that's packaged and processed. So this eliminates a lot of things. It does eliminate grains. It does eliminate processed foods such as the so-called low-fat foods, and as well the processed polyunsaturated vegetable oils. So I will touch upon each of these individually in other videos and as well in my blogs. I have a website that's called drnatty.com. I invite you to check it out and read some of my blogs. I will try to keep my videos kind of in par with my blogs so that whether you like to read or whether you like to watch videos, you can kind of be up to date on what I have to say and what I think about diet and the LCHF diet.